If you're an IT professional who's working with AI, you already know that trying to manage its life cycle is a massive challenge. So today, we're going to break down the OECD's framework for AI governance. Think of it as a critical roadmap for building and deploying AI systems in a way that's actually responsible.
You know, this quote really gets to the heart of it. We're well past the days of just spinning up ad hoc AI projects. To manage risk and get predictable outcomes, especially in today's landscape, having structured governance isn't just a nice-to-have, it is absolutely essential.
All right, so here's our game plan. We'll kick things off by talking about why AI needs its own special kind of governance. Then, we'll walk through the entire 7-phase life cycle, from the very first design sketch all the way to shutting it down, to see how a responsible AI system really comes to life.
Okay, let's just dive right in. Why can't we just use our existing IT governance playbooks for AI? I mean, what makes it so different? Well, AI governance really builds on those traditional IT principles, but it adds some critical new layers. It creates guardrails for the risks that are unique to AI. Things like unintended bias that could unfairly deny someone a loan, or a black box model where it's impossible to figure out why it made the decision it did. It's really about baking reliability and safety right into the system's DNA from day one.
So to manage these unique challenges, you need a blueprint, and that's exactly where the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, or OECD, comes in. They've developed a really comprehensive 7-phase model.
And here it is. This whole diagram shows the full journey of an AI system, from that initial spark of an idea all the way to its eventual retirement. You can see it's a continuous, iterative cycle. So let's break this down phase by phase.
These first 3 phases are just absolutely critical. If you get these right, you're setting the stage for everything that follows, and you're going to prevent some major headaches down the road. This is all about planning before you even think about writing a line of code.
And the sequence here is completely intentional. You can't build a model if you don't have the right data, and you definitely can't collect the right data if you don't have a clear plan. See how each step just logically depends on the one that came before it?
So, phase 1 is all about strategy. Before anyone gets to the keyboard, we have to ask, what problem are we actually trying to solve? How are we going to measure success? And, most importantly, what are the potential risks here? This is where you do that initial risk assessment to spot any potential unintended consequences right from the get-go. Phase 2 zeroes in on the lifeblood of any AI system, the data. The quality, the integrity, the history of the data you collect, all of it directly determines how well that model is going to perform and how much you can trust it. You know, garbage in, garbage out is the oldest rule in tech, and it has never been more true than it is with AI.
Okay, with a solid plan and clean data, we finally get to phase 3, the build. But take a look at those last 2 points. Modern AI governance demands that we build for transparency. That means using explainable AI or XAI techniques that let us understand why a model made a certain decision. It also means we have to incorporate human-in-the-loop oversight, creating actual checkpoints for a person to review and intervene.
So, we've built a model. Now comes the really critical part, the transition from the controlled, safe environment of the lab to the chaos of the real world. This is where we verify, validate, and then deploy.
Verification asks a really simple but vital question. Did we build the system right? Does it actually work according to its design, without bugs or errors?
And the key takeaway here is just intense pre-deployment testing. We're not just debugging, we're stress testing it, running scenario analyses, and, as highlighted here, running specific checks for bias and fairness. For instance, a loan approval model has to be tested here to make sure it doesn't penalize applicants based on protected characteristics. This is basically your last chance to catch these kinds of issues before they cause real-world harm.
All right. Once all that testing is done and the model is validated as being fit for its purpose, we move to phase 5, deployment. This is the official launch, where the AI system gets integrated into live business processes.
But, deployment is so much more than just flipping a switch. It means making sure the model plays nice with all your existing systems, providing crystal clear documentation for everyone who's going to interact with it, and, of course, managing the human side of things with proper training and user feedback.
So the model is live. The job's done, right? Absolutely not. For an AI system, deployment is really just the beginning. We're now entering phase 6, operate and monitor. And this is arguably the most important and definitely the longest lasting part of the entire lifecycle.
See, once the AI is out there operating in the wild, our governance focus has to shift dramatically. We're moving from one-time checks to continuous, active oversight. We're now watching how the model performs, not with clean training data, but with messy, live, completely unpredictable production data.
The key activities here are all about vigilance. We're constantly assessing the model's impact, both what we expected to happen and what we didn't. And we're setting up systems to continuously track its performance, looking for any kind of degradation. And this degradation, well, it's a critical concept known as model drift.
In this comparison just illustrates the difference perfectly. Back in Phase 4, we validated our loan model for bias before it ever went live. That's a snapshot in time. But here in Phase 6, we're monitoring it continuously. So if economic conditions change, and all of a sudden the model's predictions start getting less accurate for a specific demographic, that's model drift. Monitoring is what lets us catch that decay in performance so we can trigger a process to retrain or update the model before it becomes a major problem.
And finally, we get to the end of the cycle. No system lasts forever, and planning for an orderly conclusion is a key part of responsible AI governance.
Decommissioning happens when a model just isn't effective anymore. Maybe a better one comes along, or its risk profile just becomes unacceptable. And just like its creation, its retirement needs to be a formal, managed process. You can't just unplug it and walk away. A proper decommissioning plan ensures business continuity, it handles the secure deletion or migration of sensitive data, and it communicates the whole transition clearly to all the users and stakeholders. The goal is to minimize any disruption.
And that really brings us to our final crucial takeaway. The AI lifecycle is not a straight line. It is a continuous loop of development, monitoring, and adapting. A robust governance framework, like this OECD model, isn't about restricting innovation. It's actually about enabling it responsibly. It's the map you need to navigate the entire AI journey, from start to finish, and then all the way back again. Thanks for watching.